today we have an extra special guest, and that is Mr. Tyrell James.
Yeah, Tyrell James. You said it right.
I was a bit like scared, beforehand I said I would like pronounce it Tyrell, but it's not. It's Tyrell.
No, it's fine. You said it right.
Yeah. So can you like introduce yourself to my audience, please?
Hello, my name is Tyrell James. I have a lot going on. I think today we're going to talk about acting, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so I guess we're going to stick with that. Then I won't go into all of the other things that I do. But yeah, so I'm an actor. I've been acting since well, officially acting, I guess, since about 2011. I signed a management contract back in 2013. But I first discovered my love for acting when I was 10 years old. Um, I remember I was doing a play at school. I remember exactly where I was standing on the stage. I remember looking out to the audience, and I made a decision that day at that very moment that I wanted to be an actor. So yeah, I've been pursuing this. The desire has been there since I was 10. I began officially pursuing it around 2011.
Wow. That's like almost 12 years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
hmm Yep. And I signed my management deal back in 2013.
All right.
Mhm.
A long time. So we can consider you as a veteran
Yeah.
at this point. So since it's like Black History Month, February is Black History Month, so I wanted to ask you like on your perspective on how well does the film industry treat you as a person, as a dark-skinned person?
Well, um, I remember when I first got into the business, I was getting a lot of auditions
Mm.
for roles that were for a drug dealer,
Mm.
one for a pimp.
Oh, okay.
I remember one in particular that I turned down because there was one black person
Mm.
on this, and that one black person was a pimp, and he was dating a white girl, but he was beating her, and her father was a cop, and he hated the guy. And I looked at that and I said, "There's no way in the world I'm gonna play this, especially not my very first role. Actually, not any role, not at any point will I ever do something like that. I've turned down a number of roles for that reason. Now, I have played a drug dealer, um, but the reason that I was okay with playing the drug dealer was because I wanted to show my range. At that point, I had also played a cop, I had played a doctor, I had played somebody who was mentally ill and disabled. I was really just trying to show, oh, and even I actually played the I played the brother of a killer and the brother of a drug dealer. So I was just like kind of all over the place. So because of that, I was okay with being a drug dealer in this this one particular show. Also, it was a crime reenactment. So
Mm.
this was
Okay.
something that had actually happened. I was actually portraying somebody that's real. So I was okay with playing that, but I I didn't ever want to be typecast as the drug dealer or the killer. Actually, I played a killer one time as well, but I don't want people to see me and see drug dealer or killer. So and I think that has happened far too many times with a lot of black actors, and I refuse to let that happen to me. I'm in a position right now where I feel like I'm in the midst of a fight right now. I'm fighting for more black representation on television. I had a conversation with somebody one time, and I was explaining to them that you don't see a whole lot of black people on TV, and they were like, "Well, I beg to differ." I said, "I tell you what, let's put this to the test. I want you to grab your remote control, start at the lowest channel, and just start pushing that button going up. And I want you to count how many times you see black people. Don't sit there and wait. for a commercial or to try to figure out if the show that's coming back on has a white person, I mean, has a black person in it. Just keep clicking. And by the time they went through all of the channels, they said, okay, I understand what you're saying now. Um, and then even the times that they did, one thing that they pointed out, one of the things that they did say was that when they did come across a black person, they were in the role of a thug.
Yeah.
And I said, it is tough. It is tough. But that's why I think it's important for stations like BET and TV1,
Mhm.
the black owned stations, so that we can show us in a positive light. And then we have that black representation. I would love to have just as much black representation on Fox or NBC or CBS. I mean, it would be great. And in movies and in major movie roles, not
Mhm.
just the top black actors that we see on a regular basis. There are many of us that have the ability to play those roles, and they don't have to keep going back to the same ones. Not anything against them. I love Denzel. I love Will Smith. I love, the top black actors. I love these guys. But there are more of us out there. There are more of us. So right now, I'm in a fight right now because I'm fighting for more black representation, but not just black representation, but anybody who isn't seen enough. Even the gay community, the transgender community, whatever, whatever. Um,
Brown people.
wait, I'm sorry.
Like brown people.
Yes, yes. Anybody that really deserves to have this opportunity. This isn't just for black people. This is a fight that I'm trying to start for anybody and everybody who is not well represented when it comes to Hollywood.
That's so beautiful.
Thank you.
And like inspiring. I remember like when I watched Babylon, I think last year or the year before, and there is this very like touching, like uncomfortable scene in Babylon where there is this black musician, and this like director comes to him and he's like, use this paint to make yourself like look darker. And I was so uncomfortable watching it because I couldn't like believe that that was the case back in the day. And I had like goosebumps when I was watching that scene particularly, but also like the the whole movie really. But that scene specifically, it was like embedded into my brain, but like in a negative way, not in a positive way.
Right, right. I understand what you're saying. Yeah, it's unfortunate. We run into that. And then another issue that we do run into is black people not representing some black people, because it definitely isn't all, but even some black people not representing themselves well. There are certain roles that I've seen some black people take, and I cringe, and I'm
Mm,
like, You should have turned this down. You should have turned this down. This is so
yeah.
much bigger than the money. This is bigger than an opportunity.
I
We need to represent ourselves a certain way.
I think I know. I kind of know role you're referring to.
Oh, I'm referring to a number of roles. It's not just one in particular. It's a lot.
Yeah.
It is a lot.
Anyways, I think you won't name any names. I'm
No.
guessing and assuming so. Um, but like I love the fact that nowadays, like shows like what's it called? About Elementary are just
Mhm,
getting so many awards, which makes me very happy because I love this show. I love all the cast members and like all the how it's like written, and it's just a lot of fun. So I want to see more production of that kind, like having a full like dark skinned cast, like what's the Black Panther,
mhm.
About Elementary, yeah, that's it basically. think.
Yeah, I love it. I've never seen Abbott Elementary, but I've only heard amazing things
Oh
about
my
that show.
God, you
I
have to.
probably
It's
need to
so
watch it.
good. It's like funny. It's
Mhm.
socially socially awkward sometimes,
Okay.
political, and oh my God, the writing is very, very good. And it's a, I think like it's also a good representation
Mhm.
like in regards of the youth and the black culture and like basically like the non-white communities. I don't know. I really enjoy that, and I cannot wait to watch the third season.
Mhm. Oh, so they're only on the third season. I'll try to get caught up with it. You know what my problem is, though. Ironically, even though I'm an actor, I don't watch a lot of TV. I really don't. It's rare and it's hard. Like I can't binge watch anything. I sit there and I'll try to, and then I'm like, I just kind of, it's not that I lose interest. I just have a hard time just sitting in one place and trying to focus on something. Maybe it's my ADHD, I don't know, but also I'm so focused on creating
Mm-hmm.
that I don't always have time to watch other creations. So I think,
I thought like you were going to say that I don't watch TV because I don't want to like pick every single like scene or like wrongdoing in this production because I had I had like a few I had an actress on my podcast and she was like I can't watch it because I can't watch anything because A, I don't have time, and B, it's like I feel like okay, like you could have done this better, you could have shot this better, you know. So
mhm,
that's a common thing, I guess, in the industry.
I can understand that. There have been times I've watched things and I was like, I don't try to watch with too much of a critical eye,
Mm-hmm.
because I more so like to applaud the success. Even if I don't think that it was done very well, the fact that they actually made it, the fact that it's on TV, that success should be acknowledged and applauded as far as I'm concerned. So
Mm-hmm.
I tried not to watch it with such a critical eye, but what I do is when I see things that I think could have been done better, I store that so that when I'm on set or when I'm trying to create, because I'm also a writer as well.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so when I'm writing, and I've done some directing. So if I'm directing, if I'm writing, or even if I'm acting, I remember those things that I saw because those are the things that I want to stay away from.
I understand, and I get that. Like it's I think it's so cool that you're not just an actor, but you're like a director, a writer. And I saw your resume, I was like, oh my God, like what I haven't seen most of it. I've heard Blacklist. I was like, oh, okay, that's so cool. And then I was like, and I like looked through your resume. It's like the one, it doesn't end. It's so long, it doesn't end. And two, it's just I find it so fascinating that one person can do many like have or can wear many hats.
Yeah, you know what? I tell people, God didn't give me the gift of acting or writing, or I've been in the music industry. He didn't give me the gift of making music. He just gave me the gift of creativity and said, "Look, do with that what you will." And I have just decided to just try all of these different things. And if I feel like I can be great at it, then I'll continue doing it. If I don't feel like I can be great at it, then you all will never see it. Yeah, there are a number of things. I've had people say to me, is there anything that you're not good at? Everything that we see that you do, you just seem to just blow out the water. You seem to be so great at it. Because I'm also a podcaster. I left that part out too. I
Mm.
own a media company and I have like 7 different podcasts under my media company.
Oh,
But
I know. I was like, oh, this is I read. I was like, I know this name. I
right.
was like,
But
what can you not do?
but and that's the thing. People ask me that, and they say, and what can you not? What do you not do? Or do you do everything great? And I'm like, no, I bomb at a lot of things. You just don't see it. because I don't put it out there. But yes, there are so many things that I've tried, and I was like, well, they'll never see this. That was pretty bad, you know.
But do haven't you put out those things because of the scrutiny, or haven't you put out those things because of the voice inside your head saying, "Oh, maybe this should be like left for me," or I'll just throw it away, does that play a factor in when you're starting a production, whether that's movie or TV?
Yeah, it's definitely that voice in my head.
Mm-hmm.
It's definitely that voice in my head saying, "Do not let anybody see this."
Mm-hmm.
You
But,
know,
but
don't
like,
just
what if that thing is like the new next big thing? So it's like very hard to, I guess, like differentiate what's like worth to release and what's not. So do you have like henchmen, should I say? Do you have like people that you show those creations and then are like, oh, I trust your opinion enough, so please release this, or put it onto the cutting floor, or let it fall down onto the cutting floor? Do
so
you?
I do have a team. I have a group of people that that are that I have around me that are good at giving um constructive critiques.
Hmm.
But a lot of the thing is, before I even present it to them, I
Hmm.
have to believe in it first.
Yep.
So if I try something and I don't believe in it, I don't even give them an opportunity to say yes or no. It's only after I have believed in something that I present it to them, and typically when that happens, they believe in it too. But yeah, like and you make a good point saying, how do you know whether this is going to be the next big thing or not? But again, for me, it's a feeling. It's a feeling. And as a creator, I operate solely off of inspiration.
Hmm.
And if I'm not inspired to pursue something, if I'm not inspired to push something that I've created, then I'm I'm done. Like I'm hands off at that point. I'm
Hmm.
hands off, and I have absolutely no problem at all with throwing it away and acting like it never existed.
Forgot the question I was about to ask you. Um,
You said you forgot what you were about to ask me?
yeah,
You want me to expound on my creation process?
yes, it was about the creation. Yeah, I know. So my question was like, was or supposed to be, um, do you have like when you create something, do you have this like entrepreneurial vein? Like saying, okay, I could make money of this, or are you just doing it solely because you are just so fond of it that not that like the money won't or will not matter at this point?
Well, it depends on what it is. So I took some time off from making music, but I'm back to making music. But I'm also not even focused on trying to make money off of music. I still have the ability to do it and the ability to do it on a high level.
Mm-hmm.
So I will continue to make the music and put it out there. It's a passion for me, it's therapy for me, but I'm not looking to make money off of that. Now, when it comes to everything else, though,
Okay.
acting, writing, also I'm an author. I have 7 published books. So my books, um, my podcast, all of this stuff. Yes, yes, definitely. There is the entrepreneurial part of me. There's the creative side of me. It's like we sit down and we have a meeting and we say, okay, as we're creating, let's create in a way that this can be marketable to people. So I have to have that entrepreneurial mindset as I'm creating. I just don't necessarily do that for music anymore.
I guess that's because of the music industry. And
Yeah, I walked away from the music industry. I had opportunities. I had some pretty big opportunities, honestly. I had a couple of managers that were some pretty big name managers, and I fired both of them.
mm,
But yeah, I walked away from the music industry because they wanted to change me,
yeah.
and I wasn't willing to change. For me, when it comes to creating anything, whether it's music, podcasts, books, acting, I have to be able to look myself in the mirror. And there's no amount of money that is going to make me okay with not being comfortable with what I see when I look in the mirror. So I walked away.
I love that statement.
Hmm.
But it's also like it kind of like circles back to, as you said, like certain actors doing acting roles where we all like, why are you doing this?
Yeah, exactly. And I think for a lot of them, I don't like speaking for people.
Mm,
I can't speak, think, or feel for other people, but I can only tell you what I believe. And I believe that for a lot of people, um, the money is a determining factor. And I also believe that, the opportunity to be seen is a determining factor. And that sometimes that clouds your judgment. Sometimes it leads you to just overlooking the long-term negative impact that taking a certain role could have, not just on you as a Black actor, but other Black actors coming after you. Because a lot of people in Hollywood, they think that Black people are a certain way,
mm,
and so if you come in and you take this role, now they're expecting everybody after you to do the same.
mm,
I just shot a commercial a few months ago. And when I first got the script, I was looking at some of the things in the script, and I laughed and I said, um, I can tell that a white person wrote this for a Black
mm,
person. And ironically, when I got on set, because I had already decided the way that I was going to deliver this, and they were just going to have to be okay with it. But I was going to have a conversation with them beforehand and let them know, listen, the way that you wrote this, it seems like you're trying too hard as a white person to sound Black. I'm already Black. I don't have to do that. Let
mm.
me do what's natural for me as a Black man and what's natural for Black people. That was going to be the conversation that I had with them. But it was so funny when I got on set. One of the directors came to me and he said, "Look, clearly a white person wrote this.
Mm,
If there's anything in here that you are uncomfortable with, you can change it, but just stay within the parameters of what this is about. But if you feel like that you want to kind of change a couple of words so that it doesn't come across as," and I cut him off and I said, "Corny." And he said, "Yeah." I said, "Okay." He said, "Yes, absolutely." And I told him, I said, I had already decided to do that, but thank you so much for saying that.
oh,
Um,
that's so
so
nice.
they allowed me to just to kind of play with that script a little bit, and they loved what I did with it. So it worked. It worked out well. And I just saw that commercial like 2 days ago. I finally just saw it. They sent it to me. They're not airing it in my area, in my I believe they said that this is going to be further in the south of the,
Oh,
you're not in the United States, right?
no, I'm not.
Okay, so it's, I believe, further south in the United States.
You mean like Atlanta, Georgia, Atlanta, something
Yes.
like that?
Yeah, that's exactly the market that they were talking about. Uh-huh.
Because today it's a Super Bowl. I was like, okay, Usher is from Atlanta. I That was my association, or like Ludacris, or like I don't know, Amigos.
Uh-huh. Yes, yes. So you're gonna watch the Super Bowl.
Oh yes, I will. It's
Are you
crazy.
watching for Usher or are you watching for football?
No, like I love the Chiefs and I've been watching every single game
Okay.
or like this game and the Super Bowl, so
Mhm.
there won't be anything that I won't be watching when Patrick and Travis will be on the field.
I don't blame you. They are great. You're
Yeah,
watching greatness right now. So yeah.
I'm
Hmm.
very excited. I really hope like that one song with by Usher and two other human beings without naming names will be performed by him tonight. Or
I
like
know one of the other human beings. The other one, I'm not sure who you're talking about, but I'm sure you're talking about Taylor Swift.
um maybe not like I was like in association with Usher.
Oh, you mean like Ludacris or
Yeah, yeah,
okay, Lil Jon?
yeah. Oh,
So you wanted to
every
do
time
that song "Lovers and Friends"?
I I'm just very excited for his performance.
Okay, I got you.
Hold on. All right, we have to switch. I think the links.
Okay.
Saving. Okay. So this part I want to talk about podcasting since you're one as well and have a media company.
Mhm.
How did you start? Why did you start having podcasts or like having this company?
Well, I started with two radio shows before. The very first radio show I was asked to come on, and it actually came during a time when me and a partner of mine were trying to figure out um, how to do a radio show. This was before podcasting really blew up. And so we were trying to figure this out, and then a mutual friend of ours happened to get a radio show, and he wanted us to be guest on, to be co-host on the show. So um, I came on the show, didn't necessarily like the direction of the
Mm-hmm.
show, didn't like the way things were being run. I was only there for about maybe 3 months and maybe even shorter than that, honestly. My other partner that was with me, he left before I did. And then he and I went on to start our own radio show. And we had a couple other co-hosts come on, and it was a lot of fun. But we also did not own the station.
Mm-hmm.
Um, it was still new for us. So then a period of time, once that show ended, we went through this period of time where I was just trying to figure out what I wanted to do. And then I just started doing I decided to do a podcast called the Rorschach Test Podcast. And from anybody who's unfamiliar with the Rorschach test, it is an ink blot test, and that's something that in therapy, a lot of I don't even know if they still use this or not, but I know a while back the therapists would actually show their patients these ink blots and ask them what they see, and
Oh,
based on
I remember those. Yeah.
right, yeah. So, based off what they see, they psychoanalyze them.
Mm-hmm.
So, what I do with my podcast, the Rorschach Test podcast, I show my guests these pictures, and based off what they see, I link it to who they are as a person and to their passions, and to even what they do for a living. I did this because I wanted the viewers to be able to see, well, get to know the person and not just what the person does.
That's so
I felt
cool.
like
I love
yeah.
that concept. Why did you
Yeah.
stop?
Oh, I still do it. I still
Okay.
I've taken a break. I've taken a break, but I'm actually getting back to it this month.
Can
I've
I
just
be
had
can I be like on an episode of
sure,
yours?
let's make it happen. Let's
It's
definitely
so
make it happen.
cool because it's like it sounds so cool.
Uh-huh.
It's like very innovative and I love that. It's
Yeah,
wow.
thank you.
Genius.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you. Yeah, but that's where it started for me. And then from there, I just decided I had these other ideas, do these other podcasts, and then I had um family members that were doing podcasts, and I decided to have them and friends that had ideas for podcasts. So I just put them all under my media company umbrella, which is called Relic Media. That's
Mm.
actually what this is right here. That's my
Oh yeah, I saw the logo. I was like, oh, this is yours.
yes. Yep. So I started Relic Media. It's named after me, Tyrell Relic.
Mm.
Um, so but yeah, I wanted to do I wanted to have a company where basically I don't have to answer to anybody. And
Mm.
I want the people um in my on my company or under this Relic Media imprint to have the freedom to say the things that they want to say.
Mm.
Now, of course, that's not going so far as where we're intentionally trying to offend people. I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that. But I also want them to still have freedom. And that's why I'm very selective with who I have a part of my company because I want the people who have who want the freedom to say what they want to say, but are still responsible with their voice.
Mm. I love that. Like on my podcast, you can like swear because I swear myself, and so
Okay.
I always tell my guests like, please don't, please don't like put an act and like not swear. If you're swearing in your personal life, please do. So my mission is like for my guests to feel very comfortable and like like I want to create like homey vibe with them, but like without like stepping over some boundaries. You know what I mean?
Right. Yes, I understand. I understand. I've had a couple people curse a little bit on the Rorschach Test podcast. I don't have an issue with it. Um, and then I have another podcast where, and the name of that podcast is The Art of Opinion, and it's me and two other guys.
Mm.
It's like barbershop talk. So there's a whole
Oh,
lot of,
that sounds so fun.
yeah,
I love those like
yeah.
friends coming together and then talking because like I have a friend, he has this podcast, it's about Lord of the Rings. Like they talk about the movies but per minute, like one something happens in this minute and then they're like, okay, like this was shot this way in the books, it's different, and so on and so forth. So I love just listening to people who are just talking, like friends who are just talking. And so
Hmm.
I have this movie TV show podcast, but like I love reality TV, so I'm planning on doing a reality TV one. So
Okay.
I don't know, we'll see if that happens, but it will happen. It's like,
My media company was actually we were just shooting a reality show this past summer,
oh,
but I ended up pulling the plug on it though. I didn't like the direction that the star of the show. I didn't like the direction he wanted to go with this. Um, it was going to be, in my opinion, demeaning to black women, and I was not about to put my name on that. So I pulled the plug on it. Reality TV is a different monster. I'm telling you, it is. You know, we've tried a couple of things. It's a completely different monster,
yeah,
but
like it's so fun to watch, like
it
to
is.
with the scandals and so on and so forth. So I just like I'm listening to what's they called? What's crappin'? Something like that. Crapper, something like that. It's they like talk about reality TV and I'm like, okay, like I want to say this, I want to say this, I want to say that, but I don't know. I really enjoy watching reality TV. Maybe because I just love like drama and the nitty gritty. So
Okay, okay.
it's like how I decompress, I guess.
Hmm. I understand. I completely understand.
It's like you don't have to think about it. You just have to watch and turn. We have this like German saying. It says, um, watch like just watch that. You're just sit down, watch, and switch your brain off. And I it's just me. Like I'm watching Blow I'm watching Vanderpump Rules. I'm like, okay, please beat yourself. Like please go ahead with the arguing, but I'ma just sit here and just watch it.
Right. Yeah, I mean, it is. I'm going to be honest. It definitely is entertaining to watch other people put their mess on TV. It's entertaining. It is definitely entertaining. But at a certain point, there comes there's this fine line
Mm,
between um entertainment and trauma.
mm,
And I think a lot of people they walk that line, and it's too well, what I see with a lot of reality TV is you have somebody who is dealing with trauma, whether it's in the form of relationships, just mental health issues or whatever. And and then you have a network that says, let's capitalize off of this trauma,
yeah.
but we're going to make it entertaining. And the person is, and they're like, look, we will pay you to if you allow us to exploit your trauma.
Or like your whereabouts or where you're living.
Hmm. Yeah. And that's why I have been very adamant in saying I would never do a reality show where they try to dig into my personal life, especially my when it comes to my family, my marriage, my children, my grandson. Like there are things you're just not allowed to touch in my life. So if somebody did come to me and said, "Look, we'll put you on this reality show, but it's going to be drama filled, and we have to, we got to know all of the stuff about your life and your wife and your kids." Nah, I don't care how much money you throw at me. I've walked away from money plenty of times. Like I said early, like I said in part one, if I can't look myself in the mirror, there's no amount of money that's going to make me okay with not being able to look myself in the mirror. And you're not about to destroy my life and my family just for the purpose of people being entertained by that. I'm
Maybe
not
it's like
not doing that.
because you're from the East Coast and the West Coast people, maybe they don't like really care about that. Could that
Oh
be?
no, there are plenty of people on the East Coast that do it.
No, like no, I mean like West Coast. Like, the East Coast is like this like please excuse my language. It was like it's like this the how can I say it without offending you? The like the
It's
mob
okay. Just go ahead and say it.
okay. The mob like the mob mentality type. You know what
You
I
said
mean?
mob mentality.
Yeah, like the okay, like one
So no, I
yeah,
know what you're saying. No,
yeah.
you have that mob mentality on the East Coast, the West Coast, up north, down south. That's everywhere.
Mhm.
That I'm telling you, that is all over the United States. Um it's just it's what's selling, it's what's working, it's
Mhm.
what's entertaining, it's what people want to see, and then there are so many people that are just fine with putting that on display for everybody. Listen, I even probably sound like a hypocrite because I will watch it.
Yeah.
I will watch it. I won't allow it to be done to me, but I will watch it and I will enjoy it, sometimes to a certain extent. At a certain point, it just becomes far too ridiculous. And then I shut down and I'm like, all right, I'm done with this. Um, but yeah, for the most part, like I will watch it. I will watch it, but you won't see me in front of those cameras doing that stuff. Absolutely not.
But like I think like that's such a big step because after that you will be like bound to the network and I don't know like if you have a baby you're like okay like let's film the birth, let's film like it and I'm like I don't know. I personally wouldn't do that, but I don't know like money, I guess money like rules the world, so there are
Right.
many people, who would do things that they wouldn't do normally when the price is right.
I'm gonna tell you two of the biggest drugs in the world: money and attention.
Mm-hmm.
I'm telling you that the things that people will do, the lengths that they will go for money and attention, it is ridiculous. It is ridiculous. But I mean, those are the times that we're living in. You got to understand you have a TV, right here in your hand. You
Hmm.
have access to the entire world right here in your hand. But you also have the ability to make the world see you, and
Yeah.
it's right here in your hand. And we're at a time where everybody has a voice. And even though I believe that everybody deserves to have a voice, I don't believe that everybody deserves to have a platform for their voice, because everybody isn't responsible with their voice. But there's nothing I can do about it. This is the world that I live in. So um, I just, for me, I use discernment. I know when to scroll past something. I know when to turn the TV off, when to walk away. I'm like, whatever. I don't let it affect my life like that.
I don't know what to say. It was beautifully said and so true.
Mhm. Yeah, those are the times that we live in, though. That's where we are. So, and I know there are a lot of people that have tried to get me to do. No, I'm sorry. I'll take that back. It has not been a lot of people. There have been some people that have tried to encourage me to take that route and to just do certain things. They're like, well, step outside of yourself. Things may work for you. And I'm like, shut up, get out of my face, because I have to look me in the mirror, not you. I
Yeah.
have to deal with the consequences of my actions, not you.
Hmm.
I have to deal with these things. It's not you. So I get tired of people trying to give me their you got to know the difference between opinions and advice. Opinion, if somebody gives you their opinion, that's something that's best for them. If
Hmm.
somebody gives you advice, that's something that's best for you.
Hmm.
But see, when you give me advice, I'm hearing you tell me something that is completely outside of you,
Yeah.
and you have made this about me, and I appreciate that. But when you start giving me your opinion, you pretty much telling me, well, if I were you, I would do it this way. Well, you're not me, but still go do it this way.
Yeah.
You don't need me for it to be done. So,
Or like people
yeah.
hate people like hide like their opinion,
Mhm,
but in so like they're like I want to like give you this advice, but in reality it's just my opinion. So I'm like, how like I then struggle to see through that, through their opinion, and like
mhm.
just retrieve the advice. So that's something I've been actually working on with my therapist. I'm like, how can I be less naive? And then he gave me some advice, and I was like, I love therapy, and I never thought I would. I was like, therapy, what? I don't need it. And then I went. I was like, okay, going to be a long ride.
I think therapy is an amazing thing. I'm in therapy too. My first time in therapy, I was 12 years old.
Wow.
Um, yeah, and I've been in and out of therapy since then. I spent the majority of my adulthood, I wasn't in therapy, but I did, get back into therapy over the past year.
Yeah, same.
And I think therapy is amazing, though. I think therapy, people don't realize just everything that therapy does for you. They don't understand that, because there's this preconceived notion, especially in the Black community,
Yes, yeah,
that that therapy is a white people thing, or therapy is for people who are crazy.
yeah.
And that's not the case at all. The fact that we live in a world that's crazy tells you that we all probably need therapy. We all are exposed to things on a daily basis. And
Some
even the
some people are just good with live like dealing with it, and some people aren't good with dealing with it. So I love therapy because it just, one, it teaches you a lot about yourself or your surrounding, and two is like you learn tools to navigate through those like tough times, or like through those like um through the crazy world, like you said.
Yeah, definitely. And it also strengthens parts of your life that you may not have even known need to be strengthened.
Oh yeah, big time.
Yeah, it does some amazing things, and I highly encourage people to get a therapist. I mean, to just sit down and just talk to somebody, even if you feel like everything in your life is going well. There's still nothing wrong with therapy. One of my favorite things about therapy is I know that at least once a week for an hour I have an opportunity to make something all about me. I can be as selfish as I want. We
Hmm.
can talk just about me. I don't have to worry about thinking about anybody else or considering
Yeah.
somebody else's feelings. I don't have to worry about, and don't get me wrong, it's not that I don't want to consider other people's feelings because I do.
Hmm.
Sometimes I believe to a fault. Sometimes I think I'm overly compassionate, but
Yeah, me too.
yeah, but and when you're like that, sometimes you get taken advantage of, but it's okay.
Oh yeah.
Um, but and for that 1 hour, I don't have to worry about anybody else and nobody else's expectations, nobody else's feelings. I get to just talk about me and just make it all about me. And I think it's amazing. And I told my therapist, I said, I could get to a point where I feel like my life is perfect. I'm still going to have therapy.
Yep. So I guess I'm not there yet.
Well, I'm not there yet either as far as my life being perfect. I'm not ever expecting a perfect life.
Also, like what like perfect is such a subjective noun or like
It
word because what's perfect for you might be imperfect for me. What's
exactly.
imperfect for you might be perfect for me. So I I don't know, like there are like certain like words that I'm like, that's a you problem and not my problem. You know that.
Yes.
So like perfect is one of them. Then um in my opinion, I'm like, okay, okay. So that's your opinion and that's my opinion. So I wasn't that way always, but like therapy helped. Should I let's put it that way?
hmm Yes, definitely. You got to listen for those key words, like in my opinion. Okay, well, I see where this is going, and
Yeah. Or like if I were you, I would do this and that. I'm like, see, you're
right,
not me. And you don't know what's
right.
inside my brain or my head or what's going on. And like I see I'm ranting. I I hate when people are like, "Oh, like why are you so anxious? Why do you have panic attacks?" I'm like, because something is wrong. Like because like my brain has sadly adapted to the um negative emotions too much that I suspect that I suspect negativity when my life is going greatly.
hmm
So then I'm like, okay, like do I like should I try to explain it to them or should I not? And if I don't, they're like, what like but like I want to understand. I'm like, I tell you and then you're not understanding. So why should I waste my time and my voice and my energy to to like teach you? And so yeah, that's my that's been my struggle. Like trying to um say something exactly how it is, but not like being like okay, like not like being like nonchalant or sugarcoating it. So I don't know. I guess I'll see my therapist in 2 weeks. So I that will be a conversation for that one for that session.
But that's right. I mean, everybody, we respond to things based off of our experiences.
Hmm.
So for somebody to say, well, in my opinion, or if I were you, I would do it this way. Well, the thing is, we're not built the same. We're not conditioned the same.
Hmm.
You respond to things based off of your experiences and everything that has led you to this moment. I will respond to things based off of my experiences and what has led me to this moment. Um, you know better what you are equipped to deal with.
Yeah.
I know what I'm equipped to deal with. So me handling something the way you would handle it, the outcome is my problem. The outcome is not going to be favorable for me. It's going that's a favorable outcome for you, but it's not a favorable outcome for me. So um yeah, you got to be very careful when people want to, throw in their 2 cents because
Yeah.
yeah, it's 2 cents is that's not a lot of money.
Yeah. I was thinking about the same thing. I was like, 2 cents, that 2 cents like doesn't really make you have money. Like it's not a
Yeah,
lot. I was like, oh yeah, then you said it.
yeah. There's no value in 2 cents. So and that's not to say that somebody can't say something to you that's priceless,
Yeah.
because there is that side of that. Somebody can offer you that advice that is priceless, but oftentimes when it's just somebody is giving their 2 cents, there's no value in that. So
Or maybe there is, but like you just don't see it, but then you see it afterwards. Would that be there's
yeah, maybe not.
we'll
It may,
never know.
yeah, never know. Never know. And it's okay to still listen to them because
Yeah.
you may pick up something. Again, they may say something that means something, but um, like I was saying back, in part one, I when I was talking about creating based off of a feeling and
Mhm.
inspiration, I'm very big on feelings. If I'm not feeling right, you listen to your gut when your instinct is telling you something is wrong,
Yeah.
then listen to it. And if somebody is giving me their 2 cents and my gut is telling me, you know what, you can tell them to shut up or you can walk away, do whatever you have to do to shut this down because there's no need in allowing them to continue wasting your time. And there's no need for them to waste their time either. So, yeah, you just have to know how to maneuver through it and how to deal with it, how to use
Yeah.
discernment when
And
people
like if you don't,
things.
if you like aren't well equipped, then go to therapy.
Exactly. There are people that are trained for this. So absolutely. Mm,
Yeah. Like I really like I really appreciate like when when like one of my friends is saying something to me, it doesn't really click right away because I'm a stubborn person, but it
right.
does click, I don't know, like 5, 6, 7 years from now. So I'm like, oh, okay, thanks. Now I understand.
Mhm. Well, what happens is, sometimes it's not the season for something to grow. Sometimes you just need those seeds planted. So sometimes your friend will say something to you, and those are just seeds. That's why you don't get it at that moment. Those are just seeds. But over the next 5, 7 years, your experiences that all of the things that you deal with over those next few years, those experiences serve as water to those seeds. And that's why 5, 7 years later, you get it. And now it starts to grow. And everything that they were saying back then, it starts to make sense. It just wasn't time yet. It wasn't the season yet for you to get that. There were some other things that needed to happen. You can't just put seeds in the ground and then the next day you have this big oak tree. It just doesn't work that way. There's a process. There's a watering process. The soil has to be fertile. The sunlight has to be right. It's the same way with us. Um, there has to be a process, and that process serves as the water to the seeds. And that's also how we acquire wisdom.
Hmm. That's so true. I don't know what to say because it's like you just hit the nail onto the what's the name? What's how to say? What's the saying?
Hit
Just
the
nail.
nail on the head.
Yeah, that one.
Hmm.
It's like when we like go back to like inspiration, I want to ask this one
Hmm.
question. What movie or TV show, could be both, has inspired you the most in your lifetime?
Inspired me the most.
Or like you felt like you were watching it and then you were like, oh, okay, I'm inspired. I have to like change something about me, and the meeting is about to end. And then,
Um, I think the movies. I think there are probably four movies that stick out the
wait,
most
can you
to me.
can you do them in the next like link because Zoom is saying we have to switch links.
Okay. Yep, we can do it.
All right, I'll
All right.
send you the what was it? Third one.
Third one. Uh-huh. Okay.
Bye. Hold on. So tell me what movies those were,
So
or TV shows.
um, I, I think of four movies off the top of my head, which actually are my four favorite movies. But um, so it was Boys in the Hood, Poetic Justice, Gladiator, and Troy. Those are probably the four most influential movies.
Mm-hmm. Gladiator. So Ridley Scott. Why was that like the most inspiring ones?
You
Or
said
what?
Gladiator?
Yeah.
So Russell Crowe in that movie, he was just the things that he endured to and then it just having to be a fighter, blood sport. So
Mm-hmm.
I'm also a boxer and I do
My
Krav
God,
Maga.
I can't with you.
I know, I told you I do a lot of things. And I also do Krav Maga, which is, for people who don't know, it's a form of combat. It's Israeli military combat.
Cool.
And
I
it's
I used to do Taekwondo for 5 years,
okay.
and then I
Mhm.
stopped. But
Well,
yeah.
yeah, what I do is pretty violent, but
Mm.
it's what we call, because I teach it now too. It's called necessary. I call it necessary violence because we're also very peaceful people. We want to avoid conflict, but we fight out of necessity, and that's what I saw in Russell Crowe in that movie in Gladiator. Um, and sometimes you have to fight to the death. I'm talking about the movie. I'm not talking about like for real. Like,
I know.
but but there are some instances where that may occur.
Mm.
Um, which is why I want to be equipped and armed with everything that I need to be able to defend myself. I mean, even I'm wearing my shirt right now. It says Deep Water. It's another company that I own, Deep Water's firearms training. I'm a firearms instructor. And so I'm a firm believer in being able to protect yourself. But back to what you were saying, that just watching him in that movie, his will to never give up, to get back to his family, to um it just, I feel like there were so many different layers to that movie. And sometimes, like every couple of years to go by, I will just sit there and I'll either watch the whole movie or I'll just watch bits and pieces of it. I just need to like pull some things from that movie. And it's
Strength,
just
strength wise,
I'm sorry,
strength wise.
strength, yes, but more so mentally and emotionally. I pull something different from each one of those movies that I named. And so, and like along the same lines with Troy, there were other messages in that movie that were huge for me. Um, and Troy, I think that Troy is probably the most influential movie for me because there were just so many things. I've done like motivational speaking as well, and sometimes I'll use certain clips from well, certain scenes that I will talk about in my motivational speaking from Troy. Now, one of my favorites was when the two armies came together and they were about to fight. I believe this was in the beginning of the movie. They were the two armies were about to fight, and the kings on both sides said, um, you get your best guy, I get my best guy. They'll fight to the death. And one side he called his best guy. The army erupted in cheers, and then the other king calls his best guy, which is Achilles, the star of the movie, and he's nowhere to be found. So they sent this messenger boy to go find him, and when he found him, Achilles was laid up with like two different women, and he woke him up, and he was explaining to him, "Look, your king needs you to go fight this guy." And Achilles was he's clearly upset about having to get up and go fight this fight. He's laid there with two women. The last thing he wants to do is get up and have to go fight somewhere. But as he gets up to go, the messenger boy says to him, this guy that you're about to fight, he's the biggest man that I've ever seen. I wouldn't want to fight him. And Achilles looked at him and said, and that's why nobody will ever remember your name. And that right there was a huge, huge scene for me because for me, that's the way I look at life. Nobody's going to remember my name unless I fight the big fight, the ones that actually matter, um, the ones where it seems like all of the odds are against me. This is where greatness lies. Greatness lies on the other side of those fights. If I'm able to just win a bunch of fights that I'm supposed to win, if I just win all of the easy fights, then there's no need to call me great. But when there's something where I seem to be outmatched, where it seems like it's a huge mountain, a huge hurdle that I have to overcome, that's where greatness lies. And for me, one of my sayings that I tell the people around me is good isn't good enough when there's room for great.
Hmm.
I don't do well with mediocrity. I don't do well with just the bare minimum. And I don't do well. Like if you come to me and you bring me something that's good, but I and you know that it can be great, get this away from me. That as far as I'm concerned, it might as well be bad. Don't bring me something that's good when you can bring me something that's great. And for me, I just think that greatness just lies on the other side of obstacles. That's
Hmm.
all an obstacle is. It's an opportunity for you to show how great you are. So that movie, and there are a few different things in that movie that that stick out to me and that I just apply to my life. And then I mean there's some things that are kind of brutal too. I remember in one of the fight scenes, Achilles kills this guy, and then he drags his body, he ties him to the back of, I believe it was a chariot, and he drags his body through the streets in front of his people, in front of the other guy's people. And that's a big one for me too, because with music, because I'm a rapper, so when it comes to music, when it comes to um even fighting, boxing, and it actually everything that I do, because I look at it all as something competitive. I look at it all as if I have to compete with other people. But in that scene when he did that, it was, for a lot of people, it was overkill. It was unnecessary. Why in the world, after you killed this guy, okay, you won the battle. Why now drag his body through the streets in front of all his people? For me, it was, I'm sending a message.
Yeah, yeah, that was my first thought.
Yeah, I'm sending a message to everybody. You know, I won't stop at I won. I will take a victory lap. And you may be tied to the back of my chariot as I'm taking my victory lap. I'm just letting everybody know what can happen and what I'm capable of doing. Now, leave me alone. Stay out of my way. Stay out of my way. Because, when you get in my way, this could be the outcome. So, and there are other little nuggets and things in there that I picked up on in that movie that were just, you
When
know, I,
when you said that you were a rapper, one of, well, actually my favorite rapper, he once said that he's a rapper, but like he once said, if I didn't want to be competitive, I would have started in the pop industry. I was like, see, that's so true, because he he's a rapper, and then he like went to other genres, but they said, oh, you switched. I will tell you who that is afterwards. But
Okay.
so yeah, I when you said it, I was like, okay, like great minds think alike. So
Yes. Yep, absolutely. And then the other two movies, they had more of an impact on me growing up. So Boys in the Hood, just seeing um for Boys in the Hood, I remember there were a lot of people that looked at that as just a violent movie, and they were hard on they were like, okay, this is this depiction of black people growing up in the inner city. And it was so much bigger than that. There were so many messages in that movie. It was about making the right decisions. It was about where your life could end up if you choose the wrong decisions. It was about a black father being there for his black son, where there was this during a time where there is this the stigma that black men aren't there for their children.
mm,
um but you had a black man and a black woman, both of them. They, even though they weren't together anymore, but they were there for their child and doing everything they could to make sure that that child stayed on the right path. And you can see the things, the morals and things that they instilled in this child. And even at a time where he was about to try to take the wrong road, he gets reeled back in. That those morals, all of those things that have been instilled in him, they kick in. That voice in his head, it tells him, this isn't me. This is not how I was raised. This is not the path that I'm on. And he makes a choice to change, and gets away from doing something that could have gone terribly wrong. Um, and he was, and he watched. And even we there's even, the story of the kid that was doing great and was headed somewhere and ended up losing his life in the
oh,
midst of it because of just circumstances, neighborhoods, um but being in certain neighborhoods and things just going a certain way.
mm,
um it's it's a powerful, powerful movie, very powerful movie. And if people who and I think at this point people understand what that movie is about. They understand uh the message. But I think in the beginning, I think a lot of people looked at it as if it was glorifying violence. I'm sure there were other people that got the message, but I remember growing up
mm,
hearing people talk about that movie as if it was glorifying violence, and it was not. Um, and then Poetic Justice. My favorite rapper of all time, Tupac, was the star of that. And again, there are all of these messages that are in this. You have a man that's hardworking, and but he's not living in the best conditions as far as the neighborhood that he's in. He's surrounded by a lot of nonsense. He ends up losing his cousin, but he's a father. He's a good father, and he is looking for love. Well, he wasn't necessarily looking for love, but he found love. He
yeah,
found love, um, and I mean, it's a love story. It's a love story, and then you have Janet Jackson, who was dealing with a lot of trauma and was having trauma responses to certain things.
mhm,
And then all of a sudden, the two of them, they come together. They come together. They both come from different worlds, both worlds filled with trauma. And despite that trauma, they were able to come together and create something that was beautiful in the end. So I just, I've been just moved by all four of those movies, honestly.
it's so beautiful. It's like, it's so poetic and so beautiful, and it just makes it just made my heart skip a beat. Like I just love those like stories, and then um like hearing the out I can talk hearing the outcome out of those stories and
Mhm.
I don't know. I like I watch what is it? Power? Like Power
Uh-huh.
series by 50 Cent. I watched
Mhm.
it and now I'm watching Power Book 3, Raising Kanan, and like
Right.
it's exactly how you said what you said, and I'm like rooting for Kanan, but sometimes I'm not rooting for Kanan. I'm rooting. I'm like, and I love the narration of 50 Cent. I'm like, he's like he's just like so real and so like raw. And I'm like,
Mhm.
see, like this is why we love Power. Or we love
Yes.
Power. Just so
Yes.
I cannot wait for Force and Ghost.
Yeah, 50 is another one of my favorite rappers, but 50, even bigger than that, 50 is one of my favorite businessmen.
Oh yes, yes.
Mhm.
He's
Yeah.
so good. He's like, oh, I'm just not doing music. I'm just creating this perfect like this like network of like perfect, beautifully written, yes, sometimes very uncomfortable to watch movies and TV shows, and and then I'm just release some music and go on tour, and I'm like, see, like he's perfect. He's like her. He's very perfect as a creative mind, should I say.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. He's a force. He's a brand.
Mm-hmm.
50 Cent, that name is a
Yes,
brand.
exactly. And he's never really gone out of that brand. Like I don't know, like did something weird or we have never really heard anything negative about him ever since like the past, like the 2000s.
Oh, okay, okay. I see what you said. Okay.
Yeah,
I
obviously
was
we do that, but like not,
uh,
the last decade or.
right, yeah. Yep, yeah. He's he the way that he moves as an entrepreneur, one of the things that I love about 50 Cent so much is that, where he comes from, the neighborhood he comes from, the way that he came up,
Mm-hmm.
there are so many living rooms that that person that he was back then, they would never allow this man in their living room.
Mm-hmm.
But now he's in living rooms all over the world
Mm-hmm.
because
Mm-hmm.
because he took everything that he went through and turned it into something amazing.
Yep.
And he did it while not really changing who he is.
Yes, yeah, that.
Changed the way that he moves, but he's still 50 Cent.
Yeah, he will still like beat you up if you say something negative or wrong about his show or anything, or like his music, I guess. But like I like those people. They're like that, which haven't really changed, but like keep like evolving and kept building onto their brands and so on and so forth.
Yeah. Hmm.
What to say? What do I want to say?
You got some more questions for me?
Yeah, I do, but I forgot. What was so like as I mm, how to say? So you're like an actor for the most part. um, who are your like favorite actors?
You mean other
Or,
than me?
yeah, other than you, obviously.
um,
Besides,
right
besides 50.
now, besides 50, so Denzel Washington,
Oh,
Will Smith, Viola Davis,
oh,
Taraji P. Henson,
oh my
um, Russell Crowe. Going back to Russell Crowe is definitely one of my favorites. I have a list. I have a long list. Melissa McCarthy, she's hilarious to me. I love her. Tina Fey, Amy Poehler.
I knew that you would be saying that. You know, they know they go like they're like PB and J.
Yes, yes, they are. They are amazing to me. I love them. Um, but you know what my favorite show is?
No.
and I don't know if you all have this show out there in Austria, but the Impractical Jokers.
No. What's about?
So it's four guys that are they they pretty much uh let me see, what's the best way to explain it. So they have these challenges. They challenge each other to do things, right? So let's say three of them, they're like in this little area, and they all have the earpieces in, and they're telling the one person, and they're out in public places, and the people that are out there, that they're around, they are very unsuspecting. So they
Mm.
tell them to do certain things.
Oh,
Um,
okay.
and if they don't do it, then they lose the challenge. And whoever loses the most challenges at the end of the show, they have this punishment, So and then they punish them, and it's the most hilarious thing in the world. Look, when I sit down and watch TV, I like to laugh, and they just keep me cracking up. But they get each other to do the most ridiculous things, and they try to get each other to say certain things to people and to do certain things.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I mean, they are hilarious.
It
You should
gave
go.
me like Jackass vibes.
Yeah, yeah, so something similar to that. Yep. But yeah, but they are, one of the one actually, the guy that was my favorite on the show, he's not on there anymore.
Oh.
Um, but so it's only three of them now, but they show reruns all the time where that other guy is still there. Last year, my wife got me tickets to go see them for my birthday. And
Oh, it's so cute.
yeah, yeah, and man, I sat there just cracking up the whole time. I was in heaven the whole time watching them. But yeah, they're funny, and it's my kind of humor too.
Oh yeah. I like that too. I like Dave Chappelle,
Hmm.
um,
Yes, Chappelle.
Trevor Noah.
Yeah, Trevor Noah. Huh? Like Kevin Hart.
No, I don't. Not anymore, but he used to be
Really?
funny. Yeah.
Yeah, I like Kevin Hart. I love Kevin Hart. Cat Williams stirred up all of this
Oh
controversy.
yes. Yeah, I
I've always been a Cat Williams fan, and I love
that
him even
was
more after
that
this
was
interview.
so cool. Like it was like, oh my God. Oh, I was like ready with my tea watching it. Honestly, I think 3 hours. I don't remember, but like, it was so interesting. Like he just decided to do violence
Hmm.
to destroy everybody.
Yeah, and the crazy thing is, all of the people
Cool
he
about
spoke
it.
about. What'd you say? Say it again.
He was just so like so cool about it, and so like I don't give a fuck about it. Like I don't. This has to happen. I know. Like I was like, okay, I support you. Please go ahead.
Right. I mean, I'm gonna tell you something. I love all of the people that he was talking about too, but
Mhm,
I just love people who, when you feel a certain way, if it's your truth, you have no problem with getting out there and sharing your truth. Now, it's up to the other people to defend themselves, or if they choose not to defend themselves, then to not defend themselves or whatever, or to even attack him. That's fine. But if you feel a certain way and you feel like you want to speak your mind
mhm,
based off of what you believe is your truth, if I believe that this is what I saw,
mhm.
then and I want to get out here and share that with the world, then okay, cool, no problem. I like the person that isn't afraid to go against the grain.
Oh yeah,
The
me too. I'm also
the
that. I like that.
Yeah, I
I
love
like
the Rage Against the Machine. I love it.
the band or just.
Oh, no, no, I'm talking about I'm sure the band is great too. I didn't really. I'm sure I will recognize their music if I heard it. But
I only like know this killing in the name of because my favorite rapper he covered it during the Black Lives Matter movement thingy, and
uh,
like this one, and so I was like the band. No, I understand what you mean, but like I'm the same. I've always been this person who has always been for the underdog, and like seeing the underdog like rise. Oh, it's just the most beautiful thing in the world to see. Especially if like I've been a fan of like many artists who have risen from the bottom, and it's just so beautiful to see like where they are now in their careers.
Yeah, yeah, I agree. I like rooting for the underdog, but I also like rooting for the bully.
Mm-hmm.
I got those two different extremes. You know, I like the one like the people that keep saying, "Oh, I'm sick of seeing Kansas City win so much."
Yeah.
Well, get somebody to do something about it then. If Kansas City is going to come in here and bully the NFL every year, then that ain't their fault that everybody else isn't good enough to stop them.
Mm-hmm.
So I like the bully, but if the underdog comes in here and takes out the bully, I like that story too. You know,
So
like
for
both sides.
which team are you then
So
tonight?
tonight, I have mixed feelings.
Mm.
Um, I wouldn't mind seeing Kansas City win, but I also there are people that play for San Francisco. Three particular people, actually, one coach, their head coach, Cal Shanahan, and
Mm-hmm.
then two of their players, Trent Williams and Chase Young, who used to play for the Commanders. I'm a Commanders fan, so and I love all three of those guys that came from us.
Okay. So it's gonna be tough.
So yeah, so I would love to see them all with a Super Bowl ring. Um, but but then there are just people that I know who are fans that I don't particularly care for.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to see certain teams lose just so these people that I know that are fans of these teams can be unhappy because I don't want them happy about anything. So I just if
Understand. So
yeah,
you would be like Buffalo. What's the Buffalo? The
the
Bills
Bills.
Mafia against the Kansas City. Like against Kansas City. Like you would be for the Bills Mafia because Kansas City would lose. You know
Well,
you know
I
what I
would
mean? Like
yeah, I see in that game if it's the Bills versus the Chiefs, I don't necessarily have a dog in that fight. I would just sit there and watch a great game. You know, you got two great teams going against each other, two great quarterbacks going against each other. You know, I would just sit back and just enjoy that game. Um, but this particular game, I kind of have a dog in the fight just because there are people that I personally know that are rooting for one side that I don't like. I don't like these people. So I don't want the team to win for that particular reason. But then on the other hand, there are players on that team that I do like, that I'm a fan of, and I wouldn't mind seeing them win. So that's why I say I have mixed feelings about this game. Honestly, I'm going to lay back. I'm going to watch this game. I'm going to enjoy it. And at some point, the same thing that happens anytime I watch any game where I don't necessarily have a team that I'm rooting for. At some point during the game, I start cheering for one side.
oh yeah.
Yeah, for whatever reason. I mean, something could happen in the game and make me say, okay, I'm cheering for this team. Like there could be one team that they're losing, and now I want to see them come back. Or there could be um, somebody who is doing something. It could be some unnecessary taunting.
Hmm.
And now I want the other team. I'm like, okay, get them back, get revenge now. I want to see the revenge at that point, you know? So it
Hmm.
could be like anything, anything. Honestly, I could be sitting there watching this game today and they show Taylor Swift a little too many times. And I'm like, okay, now I want the 49ers to win. I mean, and that's nothing against Taylor Swift because it's not her fault.
Yeah.
This, it's the NFL and whatever business dealings they got going on. And I understand it's a business. Them showing Taylor Swift as much as they do, that ain't just about them showing Taylor Swift. This is a business. I know so. But um, as a football fan, I want to watch football. I want to watch Taylor Swift. If I want to watch Taylor Swift, I go watch Taylor Swift. I want to watch football.
Yeah.
So,
Exactly.
but I understand though, it's a business. It's a business. So they got to make their business move. So I get it. I get
But
it.
we just want to watch football. Please
Yeah,
don't
yeah, I
follow
just want
us
to watch football.
too much Taylor Swift.
Yep.
Please don't come for me, but it is what it is. I'm kind of scared of
But
it.
but you know what? There are a lot of people who have started watching at least Kansas City, not football, but they'll watch Kansas City because Taylor Swift is there. So, and we're talking about the biggest superstar on earth right now. So, of course, the NFL is going to say, I see an opportunity to capitalize off of that. So, every time Kansas City is playing, any opportunity you get, put that camera on her
Yeah.
because this is adding to our bottom line. So, I get it. I get it. I completely understand. I completely understand. I just, as a football fan, want to watch football, not Taylor Swift.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm very excited for tonight. I'm like I watched like all the games up to now. And I'm like, okay, like this is my biggest night of the year. Every single February, I'm like, okay, when will be the Super Bowl this year? And usually it's like February 15th, February 8th, or something like that. So I'm like, okay, and also I'm very excited for the halftime show, but this time it's like going to be amazing because Usher will be performing.
Yeah. Hmm. Yeah, I love football. Even though I box, football is my favorite sport.
But like, do you do UFC or anything?
So I did MMA for a short period of time. I just trained. I never had any fights.
Mm,
I mean, outside of sparring, I did do some sparring.
okay.
I never actually tried to fight. But see, I'm not huge into MMA just because but boxing was my background. I never really liked using my legs or my feet, my knees, my elbows. I didn't really want to use all of that other stuff until I found Krav Maga.
Mm-hmm.
Once I started doing Krav Maga, I said, okay, I like this. I like this. It's different. It's different from MMA. It's different from what you see at the UFC, especially the organization that I'm
Like
part of.
performative more?
Huh?
Is it like performative more?
Oh no, no,
Or
no, no.
is
This
it,
is
does it just have like less leg and arms?
This is everything. This is everything.
But
It
it's like
is.
meditation then, or something like that.
Say that again.
Is it like a meditation or like Thai boxing or something like that? Tai Chi.
No, no. This is. It's violent. It is very violent.
Oh, okay.
But like I was saying before, it's necessary violence. Like we teach necessary violence. As a matter of fact, the very first thing that we teach you is to try to avoid the conflict. I even have we will even teach you how to run away from a fight.
Wow.
I mean, try to avoid it at all costs. That's why I say it's necessary violence. This is when you have absolutely no choice but to fight. No choice but to fight. So this is a protection thing. You're protecting yourself, you're protecting those around you, So this yeah, Krav Maga is no, it's not performative. It's not performative. We we will spill some blood and break some bones.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Mine kinda. And then mine kinda like fighting sport then, because I love to be
Yeah.
violent. I'm like, I'm like, I'm like kidding, and then when you like, I don't know, like say something to me or my family, then I'm like, I'm like, okay, you're going to go to the hospital if I find you, if I catch you. Anyways, we have to switch to the meeting, like the link. I have to send. I send it already. Uh,
Mhm.
I lost my voice there. I got way too excited.
Okay.
See you.
Um,
Yeah.
okay. No, no, no. I'll ask you on the next one.
Okay. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. See you shortly. Okay, you want to ask me a question?
Oh no, that was the question. I just asked you before you recorded. That was the question.
Harvey. Okay, so what's the name again? Kahma?
Krav Maga.
Yeah, that.
Uh-huh.
It's like I've heard about it, I've seen it, but it's to me it's like very violent. But I don't know, like you seem very not violent, a non-violent person.
I am a nonviolent person. I am. I don't like violence. I don't like fighting. I don't even like seeing fights. I mean, unless it's in a controlled environment, unless it's like boxing or some sort of martial arts event or where each person is trained. If I'm out somewhere and I see two people about to fight, I go the other way, unless I feel like somebody needs to be protected or defended. Um,
And
if I see like fights like on social media, people posting fights, I just scroll right past it. I don't like it. I am very nonviolent. I don't like it. Which is why again I call it necessary violence. Even though I'm nonviolent, I will be violent if I need to. And
yeah.
my purpose see, the thing is I try my best to avoid conflict.
Mm,
I, ideally, I want us all to go home with our lives, with our freedom,
mm.
with our blood, with our teeth, you know,
Yeah.
and everything intact. Ideally, that's what I want. But I also know the world that I live in, and Bruce Lee had a quote said, "Better to be a warrior in a garden than a gardener in a war." And that's really I guess that's really what I want to be in the garden. I want there to be peaceful. I want there to be peace and harmony and just everything that comes with just being in a garden. Everything is just full of life and growth. Just all just being surrounded by positivity. That's what I want. But at the same time, because I know the world that I live in, I'm going to be that warrior in that garden. Because as peaceful as this garden is, somebody may walk into this garden that causes me to now be the warrior. So, yes, I am peaceful. I am nonviolent until I have to be violent. And then my purpose is to be the most violent person in the world.
I love that because I'm the same. Like, unless you don't like cross step on to my boundaries or say anything about me or my family, I'm the most peaceful person in the world. But otherwise, you better find a hiding spot. And like that does mean I'm a very short person, and like when I get violent, I'm like I am like the biggest person. So people are like, wait, like you this thing came from you. I'm like, no, like don't fuck with what's mine or people who I love and protect, or like it doesn't really matter if I know you, if I don't know you. Um, it doesn't matter. And if I see somebody needs help, I'm there. If I get like if I get beat up along the way, well, it be it because I did my part in or yeah, I did my part in like showing the person I'm here. I I am here for you. You are protected by me. And like I said, that's just my opinion. And like that's just me. And you can agree with that or not, but like unless you're like you approach me with non-violence, I will be non-violent to you. But otherwise, like I said, go and find a hiding spot.
Yep, yep. That's how I am too. Mhm. But I prefer peace.
Yeah,
Even to the point of when somebody is saying something that, I it's hard. there are only a couple of trigger words that'll make me fight, but
Mm-hmm.
for the most part, I'm not fighting over words.
Mm-hmm.
Not fighting over words. But I, you would have to say, I'm about to go rape somebody. I'm about to go molest
Trigger
a
warning.
child. You say something like that, yes, trigger warning. I'm sorry. But if somebody was to say that right there, now I'm fighting
Yeah, same.
because I'm immediately going to protect. I'm not going to give you an opportunity to go do that to somebody or to go do or to hurt that child. I'm not going to do that. And because words are words, but sometimes but words also have power.
Yeah.
And for me, even though words are words, sometimes words lead to actions. And if somebody says that they're going to do one of those two things, then it does not sit well with me to just wonder, are these just words?
Mm-hmm.
Because if it leads to an action and I could have prevented that action in my mind, I'm culpable too. Even though I was not responsible for the action happening, but in my mind, I could have prevented that. So those two things right there, yeah, I'm fighting.
Oh yeah, I lost my shit when something like that happened at this one venue. Um, and I protected that person, and I'm so proud of me for doing that because one, um, of like my background in Taekwondo, and two is just I have sadly been a part of that, and
Mm. So
and
sorry to hear.
yeah, sadly it never really goes away, but yeah, that happened. Anyways, uh, and so when I like see a person coming near to, and she was my friend, so when I saw that this person came near to her, I lost my image, and I like was like elbowing people, and I wasn't in a concert, and I was like, I have to do this. If I don't do this, my training goes out the window. I, as a person, as a victim myself, I will never like forgive myself for not
Right.
standing for her. But thankfully, I did, and so many people did as well. So it was such a beautiful thing that I never thought I would like use my MMA knowledge, but
Mhm.
I did, and I'm so relieved that I actually did. And like after like also like after so many years that like those moves have never really left my mind. It was really cool because I was like, okay, like after this, I can go back to Taekwondo and really like fully indulge in it again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it definitely comes in handy in situations like that. Um, because there were I remember there was a video going around where these people were in a club and this guy was actually like people are around dancing and somebody is recording
Mm-hmm.
and this man is taking advantage of this woman and people are like standing around just watching. She clearly is begging for help. It's not like they were putting on a show for people. They weren't being exhibitionist or anything like that. He clearly was taking advantage of her. And these cowards just stood around and let it happen. And this idiot with this phone sat there and just recorded it. Now, I understand people say, well, the good thing about people recording things is that they can now show this evidence to the police.
Mm-hmm.
But that also means that you have to allow this to happen. If you're going to record it, you have to allow it to happen.
Yeah.
So I blame the person with the phone also.
And also
And
I understand like okay, you're in shock. So was I, but it just that instinct that you have to have in these situations, and there were so many people just standing there. I'm like, aren't you not doing anything? Like, what are you
Mm.
standing for?
Yeah,
So
they're cowards. They are
yeah,
cowards. Yeah,
and so
I hate that.
now like like I'm like very I'm very protective, and so whenever people come near me, I get in immediately in defense mode. I'm like, no, you're not touching me. You're not coming near me. So
Right,
I have this thing like I don't like people. Like have I know it's a trauma response, but I I just like I create the necessary space between me and this person, so I don't have to be violent to that
right.
person.
Hmm.
So and
Yeah.
people are like when they approach me, they're like, okay, like I'm here. Don't don't attack me. I'm here. I'm not doing anything to you. So yeah.
Hmm.
But yeah, those are like cowards. Like I don't understand. Like this is like something against my morals. Like why are you standing there and just watching? Because you, like I
Right.
said, you're you are a part of this now. You could have easily prevented it.
Hmm. Exactly.
Anyways,
Yep.
it's what movies. So, um, what is your opinion on the movies which were nominated for the Oscars this year?
I didn't watch it.
None of
I
them?
No, I don't even remember what movies were nominated, and I don't even know if I even saw the movies that were nominated. I don't know.
Okay, so what was the movie scene which impacted you the most in your life?
I think I spoke about that one already, probably. I think that scene in Troy.
Mm-hmm.
Um, actually, I think there were two actually. I think the scene in Troy where he told that messenger boy that no one will remember his name. And then that scene in Boys in the Hood where um they were on their way to go look for these guys who killed one of the so Ice Cube in the movie, his name is Doughboy, and his brother had been killed. So him and the guy Trey, played by Cuba Gooding Jr., they were on their and I believe two other people. They were on their way to try to find the person who killed Doughboy's brother, so that they could kill him. And Trey was really the only one in the car who was not really about that street life. He
Mm-hmm.
was just angry and he wanted somebody to pay. But on their way there, he decided, he said, pull over, so he could get out of the car. And he made the decision to not go. Um, that right there was very powerful to be that angry, that emotional, and
Mm-hmm.
ready to go make an emotional decision that could change the outcome of your life and somebody else's. Not just your life and their life, but your everybody connected to you. Now, I remember my cousin told me years ago, he said, everything you do affects everybody around you.
That's
So,
true.
yeah, so he made a choice to not uh, put himself in a position where his life and the lives of the people around him would be affected. Um, and it's difficult because when you're that angry, you just lost your best friend. Somebody murdered your best friend, and when you are that angry, and all you have on your mind is revenge, all you see is red. It's hard to make that type of level-headed decision in the midst of those types of emotions. I think that was a huge thing, and it's a huge lesson for everybody. Honestly, it's a huge lesson to be able to uh, just have enough restraint to know that you are with some people that are willing to go do something, and then being honest about who you are and knowing this isn't me. This isn't me. And now I also have to worry about how they are going to view me.
Mhm.
because I'm making the decision to not do this. And it's a lot. It was a grown man decision that he made, and it's a decision that I don't know if a lot of people in that position are making, honestly. So, but it was huge. That was a huge scene for me.
So it was like kind of like a growth, a symbol of growth.
Yes. Symbol of growth, symbol of maturity, symbol of um symbol of being able to control your emotions, um,
Mhm.
the good decision making, um, and putting ego and pride to the side, taming that monster inside of you. Yeah, it's a lot of symbolism there.
I love that this like segment is like a therapy session, and then second thought, motivate. What's the name? Motiv.
Motivational,
Yeah, that's
uh,
motivate. See? Oh my God. Mot.
motivational. Don't worry about it. I said it for you. You ain't got to say
Yeah,
it.
that.
But yeah, yeah.
So
but again, I'm a motivational speaker. I'm also a life coach. So, I have these conversations. So,
it's just so I love the fact that as us podcasters, we can like um give someone a platform, and then they just talk about whatever they want, with obviously with our like mm, tweaks and tweaks here and there, but mostly it's just the guest just talking and talking, and then you're you're taking something out of it, I'm taking something out of it. I just love the fact that I'm a podcaster, because I get to be a vessel for people like
yeah.
you and me and the minorities,
hmm Yeah, and I appreciate it too. I appreciate you. Podcasting isn't a very easy thing. People think that it's just as simple as turning on a camera and talking, but it's hard. It definitely is hard. You have to be engaging. You have to find the right topics. You have to find the right guest, and then you have to make it all make sense. And then if you're doing a weekly podcast, bi-weekly, monthly, however often you do it, you have to give people enough to make them want to come back for the next show.
mm.
So I mean, it's a lot. It's a lot. So I
It's
commend
so
all podcasters.
rewarding as well, rewarding as well to
Say that
me.
again.
It's rewarding to me as well, like
Mhm,
being able to say what I want, and then
mhm,
having people like agree with me or disagree with me, kind of like it creates a conversation around this topic or that topic.
mhm. Yeah, absolutely. It definitely does.
Like
Yeah.
I appreciate like every single person who comes back, then all my guests, and like I'm an indie podcast, like I live overseas for you. And so
Mhm.
thank you so much for doing this. And I really hope that you had fun. And it was like a therapy session, to be honest.
I can't tell you how many times people have said to me, "Wow, this has turned into therapy." Not just with podcasting, just normal conversations. They're like, "This has turned into a therapy session." I mean, I, people say to me, you may have missed your calling. I think you were supposed to be a therapist, but therapy comes in all different forms.
Mhm,
Even in the form of podcasting, sometimes just in the form of simple conversation.
mhm,
Therapy is how you receive it. You don't have to necessarily you don't necessarily need to be sitting in front of somebody who was going through the formal education of and then has the degrees and the certifications when it comes to therapy. Therapy again is just how you receive it. So yeah, and I love it. Absolutely love therapy. It's one of my favorite things in the world. Whether I'm on the side of receiving it or giving it, I
mhm.
just absolutely love it. Mhm.
I,
And thank you for taking the time out to interview me, for reaching out to me, for thinking that my story and the things that I do, that is interesting enough for me to be on your podcast. I really, really appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Likewise, like I am so appreciative of you as well, and the wisdom you shared, the I don't know, like everything. I see. I can talk. I often have guests that 3 hours isn't enough, so we like there's the list of people I want to like redo an episode because the vibe was perfect, the conversation was fluent, and I had this I have this perception that it was this or impression that it was the same with you, and like that. Thank you so much for being on my show, and I will let you know when this will come out. I think it's like Thursday. No, yeah, Thursday.
That would
And
be perfect. That's my birthday. So that
oh,
would be a nice
that's
little
so
birthday.
cool! Happy early birthday then.
Yes, thank you. Thank you. I appreciate it.
So yeah, tell my listeners once again where they can find you and all the deets. You know the deal. You're a
So
podcaster.
so I have a website. It's relicmedia.com. It's spelled RELLIC media, media.com. Make sure that you put two L's in relic. But yes, relicmedia.com. You can find me on Facebook, The Tyrell Show, and that's spelled. So the first name, The Tyrell, TheTyrell space show. So The Tyrell Show on Facebook. Instagram, it is at Relic Media. I believe it's Relic underscore media. I believe that's what it is on Instagram. And you will see my blue logo for Relic Media. Um, um, I think that is everything else. I mean, there's no need in me plugging all of my like my gun business because you're in Austria, and if your people in Austria listening, they can't come take my class. So, but yeah, I think that's everything I need to plug.
Right. Thanks so much for taking your time. And I'm hoping to redo this because I don't know, like 3 hours wasn't enough.
well,
Okay,
well, thank you. And look, if you want to do it again, we can do it because I can talk and talk and talk and talk. So I
oh yeah,
mean,
we also have to like do that one podcast episode on your podcast because it's so cool that concept with the
yes, absolutely. I would love it. I would
pictures.
love let's set that up.
Alrighty, I wish you
Hmm.
a great day, night,
Thank you.
and
Thank you. You too.
enjoy tonight's Super Bowl.
I definitely will. You too.
Yeah, will be a long one, but I will. Bye.
Okay, bye.